now, and let's go for it. Okay guys, welcome to the meeting to discuss the project for Guinea Conakry prepayment meter project. I think we have some sort of background onto that, but before we go ahead, let's do a quick introduction to everybody in the meeting. My name is Andre Reddy. I'm from GigaBess. We're the project managers and the contract holders for the contract for Guinea Conakry for the installation of 1 million prepayment meters through our manufacturer, partner and supplier Conlog. So that's me, Andre Reddy. Aruna, quickly from your side maybe.
Okay, my name is Aruna Tiam. I'm partner with Andre, and also I have my partner in Guinea here, GSS. So GSS is the one who has that contract with EDG, utility company in Guinea, and GigaBess is the project manager and implementation partner of this project.
Excellent. Thank you, Aruna. Over to you, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian Gamam from IDC.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brian. Ketiwe.
Hi, I'm Ketiwe Shabalala. I work with Brian.
Fantastic. From IDC, Kimi, maybe you could lead the introductions from your team.
Sure. It's ECIC, Export Credit Insurance Corporation. I'm Kimi Mudli, the head of underwriting. We have Stavius Nkwashu and Fol Chobani. They will introduce themselves. Thanks.
Thank you, Stavius. Stavios?
Stavius, we can't hear you. No. Fol, maybe you can go.
My name is Phil Tobani. I work with Kimi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, a quick introduction to representatives from the bank, AccessBank. Maybe from your side, Hassan.
Hi, morning everyone. My name is Hassan Abdullahi. I work with AccessBank South Africa here, a proposed or potential commercial partner to the transaction. Thank you. Over to Bolaji.
Okay, my name is Bolaji Drojai. I'm the country managing director for AccessBank in Guinea. We are bankers to GSS.
Thank you, Bolaji. Okay, guys, just to move on in terms of a quick background as to where we started the transaction and where we are today. Okay, so the contracts have been concluded between Guinea Smart Solutions, EDG, ourselves, and Conlog for the project, supplying of 1 million meters. We've started off the project at this point in time where we've manufactured and we've delivered 30,000 meters to Guinea Conakry, and these are currently being implemented and installed in the country. Okay, over and above that, we've installed Conlog's vending system in place in the country, and since the last 2 weeks, we have in the region of 400 customers already connected and vending and buying electricity. So the project as a whole has commenced, where the initial payment for the implementation for these 30,000 meters was done by our client, and the project has commenced. Subsequent to starting the project, we have engaged with IDC as a funder for the project itself, and discussions took place with ourselves, ECIC and IDC to fund the project with the first tranche of $10 million as a revolving credit facility. Okay, we've also engaged with the AccessBank as an entity who could host the escrow account in the country in Guinea Conakry, where the funds collected through sales of electricity can rest in the escrow account, and then payments made back over through to the financier and funder back to South Africa, with their partner relationship bank being AccessBank South Africa. So we at this point in time, and the purpose of today's meeting is to state exactly what is the status in terms of the funding of the project, who are the role players, what are the roles and responsibilities, and what are our next steps in putting in place the deal structure. So that is the purpose of today's meeting with all the role players here today. So Aruna, if I could maybe ask you to kick off in terms of expectations, and then we can open it up for discussions and inputs from IDC, ECIC, and AccessBank. Mr. Cham?
Yes, hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for making yourself available for this project, for this meeting. And as Andre said, we have been engaging with IDC and ECIC and all the role player since some time ago, except AccessBank, which is a new to this transaction. So to give you the background, we have already started putting the meters into Guinea, and we did some meetings already in the past with ACIC, with IDC, with Conlog together at IDC. So this is not a transaction it's not a new transaction to them. So last week I had a meeting with IDC, specifically Brian and Ketiwe, in which they wanted to see if we can have a bank who can take that facility because of new development with the Conlog, and which came and asked them to change the structure of this transaction. So now we want to use GigaBess as the main borrower of this transaction, but Conlog will still give the same type of guarantee, not guarantee on the system and guarantee on the product. So we approach we start looking around because we have our own bank, which is FNB locally in South Africa, but FNB doesn't have any branch in Guinea. So we look around and find out that AccessBank is the only bank who has a presence in Guinea, physical presence in Guinea, and physical presence in South Africa. So that's why we approach AccessBank. Thank you, Bolaji, for really being very proactive on this. And we have very interesting discussion with them. And then we want to see how we can structure the whole deal together now with them. Because it will be much easier because we can have AccessBank as a escrow account holder in Guinea, and also AccessBank in that side who can receive a revolving facility to manage this project.
So good. Aruna, thank you so much for that, man. If I could leave it over to Brian from your side in Ketiwe.
From our side, Ketiwe, can you go ahead?
Yeah, okay. No, thanks, Brian. So thanks, Aruna, for setting up the meeting, and nice to meet you, Hassan and Bolaji. So we have a long-standing relationship with Conlog. Conlog is a well-established meter manufacturer here in South Africa who's been trading for about 50 years. And our mandate is to support exports and the growth of, businesses, South African businesses growing abroad. And we also have a mandate to support projects in other African countries. Now, what we said to Aruna is that for us to do an assessment of the actual project with a view of lending directly into the project from South Africa will take a very, very long time. Just because of IDC processes and the hoops we need to jump to do the transaction. And Aruna had highlighted the timelines, so we suggested that, okay, fine, a quicker way to do this might potentially be to do the transaction through a bank, a tier one commercial bank or a retail bank, whereby we could explore doing an onward lending facility, whereby the bank would do the credit assessment and advance the sort of like a revolving credit facility. But our exposure as IDC would in this instance be to AccessBank, and then AccessBank onward lends the fund. Either we do it that way, or we, do some sort of a guarantee. I honestly think this will be the quickest way to get this done. AccessBank is a very well-known bank, and the whole process of trying to do a due diligence in Guinea will require, backwards and forward travel, and the fact that the legal agreements are in French, just the legal process alone will just take not less than 6 months, So in the interest of time, we would like to explore the feasibility of doing something with AccessBank in South Africa.
Good. So, Ketiwe, so we understand that. If I could leave it over to AccessBank to advise us in terms of a way forward, given the feedback from IDC. I'm not sure if Hassan, you'd like to maybe question and advise.
Okay, all right, thanks. I mean, it's explicit, and the rules, the expectation from the bank is explicit enough, right? We've done a couple of transactions of this nature. So, the way forward is, I wouldn't be able to give an outright yes. You are head deep into this already, but let's get into the data room, right? Let's begin to make those assessments, right?
Okay.
Since the credit risk now lies with the bank, right? And so for us to be able to take that judgment call, would be let's give us access into the data room, and we'll begin the engagement from there. Hopefully we'll see where it takes us to.
Okay.
Aruna?
Yes, okay, Hassan, no problem. I will give you access to the data room today with both of you and Bolaji, so you can have access to it. I'll link you up to the data room today. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Aruna. Thank you, Andre.
Great. Ketiwe, in terms of the expectations from the insurer, what would be the expectations from IDC in the forms of guarantee and in terms of export credit, or are we going past that route, or we want alternative guarantees? Please advise.
Andre, excuse the noise. I'm in a coffee shop in Parkhurst.
Okay.
The ECIC would be mandatory if we were doing a direct lend into the country. This is part of the guidelines for financing a project or an entity in a country outside South Africa. Given that we are proposing to do a transaction with AccessBank here in South Africa, I'd have to go back and just confirm whether how the ECIC or credit risk insurance might be factored in.
Understood.
But definitely the ECIC would have definitely been a criteria if we were going to do the deal directly to in Guinea.
Understood.
Just 1 minute, Andre, if I would like to just add to what Ketiwe said, right? So we're not exiting the role of the ECIC yet, right? So the conversation with the ECIC will still hold water, even though IDC is not doing the deal directly with Guinea, but AccessBank here, right? So since we will now be like the counterparty in front with the credit risk across both nations, so our comfort as well will still be needing some comfort from the ECIC side. So maybe that will be another conversation outside this, but we will still need ECIC in the conversation based on the cross-border obligations that will be created.
Okay. That's fine. Okay.
If I may come in, I think in the last discussion that we had with ECIC, whereby we're looking at a local entity as the borrower, I think one of the ECIC guys said that, it would be it would be difficult for them to, let me not speak for them, for them, but they indicated that it would be difficult if the borrower is a local entity. Thabo, maybe you can come in.
Yeah, so I can answer that. Oh, okay. Yeah, Fall, go ahead.
No, thank you. I hear Hassan, and thanks Brian for that. Thanks, Jimmy. I just wanted to find out if IDC was to directly finance this project via AccessBank, meaning that AccessBank, if I understand very well, would be the borrower, and IDC would expect repayment from AccessBank. Am I correct?
No, AccessBank wouldn't be the borrower. AccessBank would be the guarantor. The obligor of note still remains GigaBess, right? IDC is the liquidity provider or the funds provider, and it's an on-lending structure which is going to be given to AccessBank for onward on-lending to GigaBess for the execution of the project. Yes, so the credit risk lies with AccessBank. If there's a default from GigaBess, right, IDC would have recourse to AccessBank's guarantee, so to speak. Yeah, AccessBank is not the obligor. AccessBank is the guarantor, right? The obligor is GigaBess and
okay.
The fund provider IDC.
Okay, so what we're saying, but what are the points or the risks that would make GigaBess not to repay the debt?
So that's the credit risk analysis we're going to do on GigaBess, right? And upon approval by our board and GigaBess is meeting the risk acceptance criteria of AccessBank, then we'll issue that guarantee to IDC. IDC releases the fund for the project. We will ensure that the funds are utilized in partnership with our sister bank in Guinea. The funds are utilized for the project, right? And we'll guarantee repayment back to IDC in line with the specified repayment intervals.
Thanks, Hassan. I'm not turning this into a dialogue, colleagues. What I just wanted to understand is that it's still going to be a challenge because if GigaBess as the obligor were to default on it means AccessBank is actually the last resort, meaning that we look through the project to repay the debt, then we will need to do a credit analysis of the project itself because it's going to be a cut-through guarantee to say, no, you AccessBank, you need to pay back the debt by IDC. We need to satisfy ourselves that the project itself can stand and all the other, it goes back to that point that Katie was making. And I hope we are not talking across each other because Katie was said, because we wanted to short circuit, let me not use the word short circuit, but you understand what I mean. Because we want to make sure that the project proceeds, we then look to AccessBank, and I hope to repay the debt, and then the level of due diligence is to look at the credit issues and everything is actually to AccessBank. It's no longer to the project. I don't know, maybe I misunderstood, but this is how. But the other point that I have, the question that I have, what are the developments? I heard someone was saying because of developments in Conakry. What are those developments? What has happened? What is happening? Thank you.
Kimmy, maybe we got your hand raised. We could hear you out first before we comment.
Okay, I just, so in addition to what Fall says, so if I understood correctly, IDC will lend to AccessBank, will on-lend to the project. So the AccessBank would have to pay IDC. Is there funds that are going to be kind of ring-fenced within the AccessBank to pay IDC, or how is that structure working? I just wanted to know from AccessBank.
So that's the crux. That's the crux. Yes. That's the crux of the risk analysis AccessBank is going to conduct, right? So once that is sorted, yes, we'll guarantee repayment. So yes, if you ask me, and I'd like Andre to step in. Yes.
Thank you, Hassan.
The proceeds from the proceeds. Okay.
I could explain it. I don't know, Aruna, if you want to start off, and I could elaborate to Kimi so they understand the mechanism of repayment. Aruna, you want to go first?
Yes, I think what you have to understand, this transaction is not like we are lending to EDG directly. No. What we are doing, we are putting an escrow account, which is a ring-fenced bank account, which we're going to do it with AccessBank. It's going to be sitting in AccessBank Guinea. That account, all the sale which will be generated by these meters, including some of the old meter EDG has now, have to go to that bank account. From that bank account, there is an amount which we agree on. You will see that in the contract will be deducted directly before money goes to EDG. So there is a ring-fenced bank account, and beside that, that amount we agree on, there is a service level agreement which also is there, which will be also deducted from that amount. So will be enough money into it because it's coming from energy sales, not just meter usage. It's going to be coming from all the energy sales, which we deduct what have to be collected to service the debt. That's how it's going to be done. Okay. So in Guinea, really, really tight.
So in the event that you do not get a repayment, what happens then?
Kimi, let me explain this and elaborate, Aruna, and that's the discussions we'll be having with AccessBank as a guarantor to provide our guarantees to get the money. So first you got to understand how this transaction is, right? We buy the capital goods, we install the capital goods, okay? Two things on behalf of the utility through our contract, through a public-private partnership. Now, the money, when a customer goes and buys electricity through our meters and through our systems, those monies get put into an escrow account, a lockbox account, which will be hosted inside AccessBank. So all the money for all electricity purchases on prepaid, all will be housed within the bank account of AccessBank in Guinea, Conakry. Contractually, EDG, the utility, must pay us back for the work and all the stuff we're doing. They pay us in two forms. One, for every meter that we installed from the date of installation for 48 months, we collect $3.3 over 48 months for each meter installed. You can do the math. So that's the first form of revenue that we are entitled to get back, pay our financiers, and manage our operational costs. That's the first stream of revenue that nobody pays us. We collect the money through the system into the bank, and we pay ourselves and pay the financier. That's the first stream of revenue. The second stream of revenue that we derive after this project installation as per the contract is for every electricity purchase in the country, we are entitled to 5% of each transaction. Okay, so if you understand that, all the monies that are collected from prepayment purchases goes into the escrow account, into AccessBank account. So the money is already for repayment of the financiers and paying us back for our operations already rests with AccessBank in Guinea, Conakry, all that money. So we can understand how the money flows. So talking about repayment and guarantors, our guarantors to repay, ensure payment and money goes to AccessBank is saying that AccessBank already has the money. Pay yourselves first and pay the financier, then pay us. Hope you understand how it works, Kimi. Hello?
Thanks, Andre. So I get that the obligor is GigaBess.
Correct.
So that's the borrower.
Yes.
Okay. So if I can ask IDC, what's the reason for lending to AccessBank in South Africa instead of AccessBank in Guinea?
Super.
I just think it's just the amount of time it will take us to conclude the transaction. IDC has got a process for deals in South Africa and a process for transactions outside South Africa. The one outside South Africa has got its own guidelines and processes, and we feel that will just take longer than just doing it with AccessBank here in South Africa.
And also,
so what is the time? Sorry, can I ask what is the timeline to get this funding in place?
Well, what do you mean, the local transaction?
Well, you're lending because we would be covering you as IDC. We wouldn't be covering, the other banks. It'll be our cover would be to the IDC.
So this is currently we're talking about a proposed strategy. Now, we would have to take this transaction to our investment committee and conduct a due diligence on AccessBank. I mean, so I think, I'd say about 3 months. We should get an approval in about 3 months, assuming that we from the. Yeah.
I don't know, you got your hand raised. Sorry, I'll just elaborate further on that. Our preference is because, remember, we are buying the goods from South Africa and we're exporting out of South Africa. All our systems and services are provided out of South Africa. So our preference is that the monies be here. The money that is spent in Guinea Conakry is to pay contractors, Guinean nationals in the country to install. And that's sort of how payments and disbursements work. Kimi, I don't know, you got your hand raised there. I don't know, you want to maybe comment?
Yes, that's what also I wanted to say, because we really need money in South Africa, not really in Guinea. Guinea, the need for money here is just to pay a contractor, which is around 30% of what we require. So is 70% of the money will be used in South Africa.
Correct. So Kimi, your answer is that, so the whole project is to buy those little meter goodies, buy some cables and accessories and other little widgets, and then ship it over to Guinea Conakry. So the product supply and the export actually is coming out of South Africa, okay? But the actual money spent in Guinea is to pay for labor and operational costs, to pay people there to take those products of ours and install those meters. So that's why the funds requirement is here for South Africa, where the lending should be actually here in South Africa, okay? And dispersed to pay our South African companies. I don't know, you still got your hand raised?
Sorry, can I ask, do you represent Conlog or do you represent GigaBess?
Let me explain. Very good. So Conlog is a manufacturer of meters. They're a factory, okay? Now, the project is not about just manufacturing meters and shipping. It's not. The project involves installation of those meters, management and maintenance of those meters over a period of time. So it is an integrated solution which we are providing as a project. So that's a fundamental difference. So in terms of representation, Conlog is a separate legal company, and so is GigaBess. The direct relationship between Conlog and GigaBess is we are Conlog's. GigaBess is Conlog's implementation partner in Guinea Conakry and sole distributor of Conlog's products in the country. So in essence, our contractual arrangement between ourselves as GigaBess and Conlog is we are a partner. So we partner to buy the goods, the meters and goods from Conlog, and we as project managers and engineers and IT systems and development teams, we go and implement these projects outside the country, providing a full solution to the client. So based on that, the solution does not only require the goods. Our clients as utilities require funding. Therefore, we syndicate the funding through one mechanism and through a deal structure to ensure that funds are put into the project and ensure that the repayment of those funds are made back to the funder. Does that clear up the understanding, Kimi, in terms of relationship?
So I have a follow-up question. Thanks, Andre, for that. So GigaBess and Conlog, is it a JV or is GigaBess within the Conlog organizational structure in terms of ownership?
We are two separate legal incorporated entities in South Africa. Okay, we have a contractual arrangement as a partnership, not the words of JV or consortium. No, we are partners as two South African companies implementing complete project solutions in Africa. Conlog's role is the manufacture of those goods and products. Our role is to take those goods, transport them, install them, commission them, and all the work associated with completing the project. Is that clear? Kimi?
Yes, thanks, Andre.
And in terms of developers, you must understand, as us being partners, we had three options. The first option we tried, and that took 3 to 4 months to date, is that Conlog, being a balance sheet company with over 65 years, since 1965, we first wanted to do it as a working capital. But that doesn't solve the solution. You cannot just fund the working capital to make the goods. It's of no use if it's not installed, operated, put into operation, put through a system, and the system is managed and operated. So that was a reason through where we've found that going through the Conlog route didn't fulfill the purpose whatsoever. It just allowed the goods to be manufactured, but it was pretty useless without being installed. And that is why our solution required a complete solution for the funding of the entire project. In terms of Conlog is also in a process of an acquisition. They were part of a parent company called CIG, which was a GSE listed company. And subsequently, Conlog was, over the past 12 months, in a sale process. And that is to be concluded in March this year to new owners. Given that dynamic, that posed difficulty for them to accord them the balance sheet into this transaction, and having a long-winded process with new owners to deal with executing the project. Therefore, we've come on saying that let's agree in principle, let's find a way to fund this project more effectively and efficiently. Does that answer all your questions, Kimmy?
Yeah, so as I understand it, Conlog is being bought out by a new owner.
Correct, that is correct. The new company is Community Investment Holdings. I think it would be public soon. And
the new owners are aligned to this transaction.
How can I answer that question, Kimmy, at this point in time? They yet to be the new owners. Conlog, with its current management, is undertaking the project, okay, and is part of the project. When the new owners come on board, we'll clarify those with the new owners in terms of maybe they would want to fund their out of their balance sheet, because they're a much larger company. They're a 20 billion rand annual revenue company in the future, but that's something we will look at with the new owners and answer those questions accordingly. Kimmy.
And when is the just one more question and then I'm done. When is the buyout going to be confirmed?
Look, those are things, it's just information that I have. We are not in control of that totally. We understand that process from the BR practitioner is in process in March this year, but we do not have the full and exact details. That is a question for Conlog directly, actually. Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
Aruna?
Yes, and I think you have to also to understand that the new owner bought Conlog because we like what we're doing. So Conlog will not stop manufacturing meters. We need mostly meter and the system from Conlog. Besides that, we have already a talk with a new owner. They're excited about the project. I think they will be more than happy to support it. But we don't know how long that process will take. So we can't because this project has been already launched. We can't delay it because of that.
Correct.
So we have to go ahead with the project.
Good. So the status quo at the moment is we've started. We've implemented the system. We have systems available to show you the vending system online. We have an asset management system which can show the bank exactly and the funder exactly where those assets are, whether they're on the ship, whether they're in a warehouse, or whether they're installed, and whether they've been allocated to a contractor, which contractor. So we have a complete asset management system that has been deployed from our side to fully track every single one of these 1 million meters in the country and what is its status. And we have the financial system through the cloud-based Conlog vending system, where full visibility is there to the funder and the guarantor to see on every single day how many persons bought electricity and how much of money, of course, they can see has been into their bank account in Guinea. Tabo?
Okay, thanks, Andre, for I hope now that route of AccessBank, I cannot get the link between the developments, which I understand from Conlog, the link between the developments in Conlog and the current proposed structure of the transition. I don't get the link. Can someone help me there?
Aruna, you wanna add to that?
Yeah, Tabo, thank you for your question. But I think Kitiwe explained that, because if we wanted to go to the normal way to get that funding to IDC normal process, it's going to take a long time. So that's why for us, time is critical. We need to go to have this project running very quickly, because we already started the project. We can't just stop it and then start it again. It's going to lose momentum. So for that reason, we wanted the IDC to go a quicker way. A quicker way would be to fund a local bank, a local commercial bank, which have a presence in Guinea. Only AccessBank has that, because we are banking now with FNB, but FNB have to go through a corresponding bank in Guinea to do that transaction. That will take also forever to do. So AccessBank is the only one who's in both sides of the country.
All right. So thank you. So meaning that IDC and AccessBank are going to enter into a form of a loan agreement or a line of credit arrangement. AccessBank in Guinea Conakry, and then we will ensure IDC's finance to AccessBank for the execution of this project by Conlog. If I'm correct, it's fine. But what I wish to do is for IDC and AccessBank to sit down, draw up a draft term sheet, and then which we as ECIC would have input into. But the only thing that I need from our side, we will need AccessBank's next financial 3-5 years, 3 years, depending on the cycle of the debt, and underlying covenants need to be agreed, financial covenants from AccessBank in Conakry, and all of those. So those things would need to be ironed out. But from our side, we need to have the technical and financial capability of Conlog, because they are the ones who are delivering the project. We also need a draft term sheet between the two parties, AccessBank and IDC, which of course we will have to have a comments onto it so that we can start looking at the project. It sounds promising, the structure sounds promising, but obviously we will need to look more at the transaction. As to whether we wouldn't want to go to Conakry, we'll obviously have to see, okay, this is the project, and then how do we tie in the GigaBess and their partner in country for the execution of the project. That's a legal issues that need to be agreed upon. But for now, it appears as if I now understand our structure. Thank you.
Thank you, Thabo.
Okay.
Bolaji, Aruna, I think we got Bolaji there first. Would you like Bolaji to come in first, Aruna, before you?
Okay, I think I need to clarify some things, and I think we need to do a map on the players and the role of each of those players. But from what I gathered, Conlog is the manufacturer and they will be doing the manufacturing and the installation, providing technical partnership to the local contractors here. Now, the question is, first and foremost, there is not going to be a direct loan between AccessBank and ICB. AccessBank South Africa will be providing a bank guarantee to ICB for the loan to be given to, is it GigaBess or Conlog? We need to identify who is going to be the obligor, who is the contracting company in South Africa, and we need to establish that. AccessBank will guarantee that loan. That means whoever is being granted the loan, the funding will come to their account in AccessBank. AccessBank will ensure in South Africa, will ensure the utilization of that funding for the project. Now, AccessBank Guinea is going to provide, will be a collecting bank. And as we collect both from the purchase of those meters being installed based on the contract by the local company who has a contractual agreement with the electricity distribution company in Guinea and has the contractual agreement with the South African entity. We opened an account with AccessBank in Guinea. AccessBank Guinea will be a collecting bank to ensure that those funds that are to be paid in line with the terms of the agreement with the electricity distribution company is funding, is remitting those collections back to AccessBank Guinea, AccessBank South Africa, for the benefit of the contractor and for the benefit of ICB, so that those loans can be repaid. I think this, to me, my understanding of a snapshot of this, and I think we need to do a mapping of what will be the role of the parties and who will play what and what.
Thank you for that, Bolaji. I think that is a great snapshot. I'm glad we recorded it. Aruna?
Agreed.
Aruna?
Yes. Bolaji, thank you very much. I think what you said is very important. We're going to do that structure. We're going to show overall player and each of them. What is also very important, we're already installing meters now. So we start populating that system. So by next week, we're going to give you access to know, for all of you, to give you access to the system so you can see how that collection is made. Probably after that, you will be more comfortable seeing the transaction. So, Bolaji, I'm going to share the data room. So we need to update some of the information inside because the structure is slightly changed. We're going to do the changes. We're going to make those changes into the data room. And then you can go ahead through all the documentation, you see what's going on. But really, I think by next week, we'll have enough meter in the system so you can see the money flow. And we're going to open up a escrow account with AccessBank and GSS. I think today it's a bit busy day for us, but tomorrow probably we're going to come to AccessBank to start the process here locally.
Fantastic, Aruna. Good. Which actually we'll put the structures in place that we are referring to and put the respective parties in place there before we actually go ahead with the deal and implementing the deal. That we will demonstrate to you, there's the systems, there's the money flows, there are the escrow accounts, these are the contracts, and you see it functioning up front. So good. If there's no further questions, any final comments from IDC? If you're happy at this way forward, as the next steps, we'll put together this sort of framework that we can all look at, all the stakeholders, as Mr. Bolaji suggested. Let's see who's to play what role and what's the indicative deal structure, and then we can plot through time frames and move forward with the process of finalizing the deal. Ketiwe, if you're happy with that?
Yeah, that's fine, thanks. I think a drawing or a structure will help to clarify the transaction for everyone and help us all be on the same page.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree with Ketiwe. I think that's a very important point in terms of understanding the structure and how the funds are going to be flowing. Yes. And then, what each of us, what roles we will play in this structure. So we're looking forward to the information as well. Thank you.
Will do.
Very good. Okay, Kimi, I'll also add you to the data room. I don't know if you had access before. I know Dr. Mbia, maybe Tabo have access, but I'll check all the access level and try to give everybody in this meeting the access.
Okay, thanks, Aruna.
Yeah. So all we need to have, Kimi, is just the email addresses, I believe, Aruna, and then you should be fine to send the link.
Yeah. I don't know if you were in the invite.
Kimi, I'm not sure, Kimi, if we have your email address. If you could pop it on a return email.
I will have the team send you my email address.
And we can do that.
Please, okay.
Forward. Thank you.
Okay, so agreed. As soon as we make those changes in terms of the proposed deal structure and role plays, we'll populate that onto the data room. and within the next couple of days give everybody the access to the data room. And as early as next week, once we have sufficient meters installed, because we just started installing meters now, we will nevertheless give you full access to look at the system live of what's going on in Guinea, Conakry, and visibility of our asset management system to see where those assets that we bought are physically sitting in the project. Okay. And good. If there's nothing further, we can close the meeting off. Brian, if you're comfortable with that.
Yes, I'm covered, Andrew.
Thank you so much, everybody. Look, please give me some time to stop this recording and send you guys a link with an uploaded video, either through YouTube channel or some mechanism where you can all view the recording of today's meeting, which I have. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care for now till the next meeting. Bye for now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.